So picture this scenario for just a moment. You walk up to the teepad and you're trying to decide what to throw. You determine that a backhand just isn't right for this hole, which curves to the left, and then the basket sits on the right hand side. A backhand is going to flirt too much with the trees, and it'll keep pushing left, putting you further away from the basket at the end of the flight. Instead, you determine forehand is the better option. But what forehand shot do you throw? Do you throw the overstable disc on an anhyzer, or do you take an understable disc and Hyzerflip it and then let the fade at the end move it to the right? So which shot is correct? Let's talk about it. If you're new to the channel, my name is Sam, and today we're going to talk about a shot decision. Is it an Hyzerflip shot with an overstable disc, or is it a Hyzerflip shot with an understable disc? So the previously described scenario actually comes up more often than you would think. And I'm about to share a little tip with you that I just recently learned and figured out, and I think it can help save you strokes out on the course. So in our scenario, we have a fairway that curves to the left with the basket that sits on the right. And I'm sure many of you, including myself, at least thought this is an Hyzerflip shot. I need to throw something overstable that'll move left initially and then work itself to the right. Well, that may not actually be the right shot for the hole, depending on the hole. But first, let's go over a few nuances between an Hyzerflip shot and a Hyzerflip shot. Now, one of the first things to consider when throwing an Hyzerflip shot is that you need to get the disc height in order to give it the desired flight path. The forehand Hyzerflip is a more technical shot, and I don't feel like nearly as many players have that shot shape in their bag. However, you can throw the disc much lower and get a very similar flight like you would with a forehand flex with a less stable disc. So how do you determine if it's a flex shot or a Hyzerflip shot? Well, we got to read the fairway. So here's the first thing. Look for any overhead obstacles. So are there any overhead obstacles you need to avoid? In this case, there are on this hole. This tree right here and this magnolia right over here. They will grab disc in an instant and knock them down to the ground. The second thing, how badly does the fairway curve? Now in this hole in particular, the curvature isn't too terrible, which is a good thing. If you stand on the edge of the tee pad, you can actually see a very clear line to the basket. And finally, number 3, what's going to be your best miss in case something goes wrong? A common mistake if you throw the flex line, or even if you mess up the forehand Hyzerflip, is you end up in this magnolia tree way down at the end of the fairway, which is roughly about 45-30 feet from the basket. So even though you'll be in circle 1 or close to it, you've got a really obstructed putt. I think it'd be best if you had a visual demonstration, just so you can see what exactly I'm talking about. I've been having a ton of success throwing an understable disc like this Origin and getting myself inside the circle and an easy birdie look. So even though my shot went a little high, I at least got down to the basket. I've got a nice easy 15-footer. So let's hop over to Arrowhead hole 9, and we're going to look at a similar shot, but it's just different enough where we need to take a different approach. So we're now here on the tee pad of hole number 9 at Arrowhead. It's a very similar hole to hole 2 at Harbor Church, but the fairway is curved a little tighter and there's fewer overhead obstacles, meaning that that high and Hyzerflip shot is a much better shot to take than a forehand Hyzerflip. Let me show you. Now, one thing I forgot to mention about hole 9 is that it does have multiple pin placements, this being the most extreme left. Now, this is where our drive landed, and right there's the collar. If the basket was there, we'd have a tap-in par, like just an easy 10-footer. When it comes down to it, experience is going to be the best teacher for you to figure out which shot shape is the best. Back at Harbor Church, I tried doing the forehand flex and just found it really didn't work for me where the Hyzerflip did. And here at Arrowhead, I found that the high anhyzer shot with an overstable disc works really well, where an understable disc tends to want to turn and roll and just get into a whole bunch of mess. If you thought that this tip was helpful, be sure to like, subscribe, and stick around because I've got more stuff coming. Have a good one.